The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Dom.
And Father Cory Sticha. Hey, Father Cory.
How's it going?
Folks, I want to tell you about another show on the StarQuest Network you are certain to enjoy called The Secrets of Doctor Who. You can find that wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/Doctor Who. Before we get into our main topic, we have some feedback from one of our listeners, and this feedback is on our last episode where we talked about tech for travel, and this comes from Ted, who says, this week's episode was very timely since I'll be traveling to Eastern Europe this week. We're prepared with the electronics, but I was hoping that there'd be a mention of an app that could translate from one language to another. Yeah, Dom, I know it's a feature and set app. Actually, it's not, but that's okay.
That's one of the few that's not.
Yes, one that can read a menu so that I don't get fooled into ordering a part of a domestic farmyard animal. That's disgusting. I did download one app, but anything other than Spanish was an upgrade, so I downloaded Google Translate, and that may do the trick. And frankly, that would have been my recommendation, actually. I mean, Apple has a Translate app as well that does translation on device, but either way, I think they both do pretty good.
Yeah, there was a number of us that used Google Translate when we were over in Italy, and it was fantastic for it. You could either do we actually had some of them where like literally they're punching it in English and then just hold the translation to the to the person they're trying to speak to, or you can you bring up the camera within it and it will do the auto translate on screen. Yeah,
that's pretty neat. Like you hold it up to a sign. Yeah, it is.
Or menu. You're at a restaurant. You don't know what you're ordering. Yeah,
it is. It's amazing the world we live in. I mean, I traveled to Europe when I was, pre-smartphone, and what a difference it makes. It's like having a universal translator where everybody speaks English throughout the galaxy, or
instead of trying to do the sort of sign language where you're like tapping on your chest saying I want to pray or I want to eat or
speak English slowly and loudly.
Aiuto, sono americano, dove via crini, which is the one phrase I learned desperately when I was lost in Rome.
Well, the phrase I kept having to do because I was wearing my collar, so I'm identifying as a priest, is only American, only English, only English. And then we go, oh, sorry.
That's good. Well, Ted, I don't know if you're on your trip or not, but, I hope you're having a good time. Love to hear how it went when you get back. Let us know on our Discord. Jump in there and tell us how your trip went and whether the translation via Google Translate did the trick. And if you're eating disgusting farmyard animals, that would be great too.
Yes. Yeah. Dos vidania, adios.
So let's get into our main topic. And, we talked about tech for travel, and we've got another summer-ish topic, although I do this year round, which is grilling and smoking technology. Not cigar, tobacco smoking, or other kinds of weed.
And not the Canadian wildfire smoke, which is covering Michigan at the moment for the last 2 days. And
y'all can have it.
Yep.
We've had our fair share. Y'all can have it.
Yeah.
Would not recommend.
Yes. No, we're talking about smoking food. So grilling and smoking, barbecue is another way you can refer to it. And so we're going to talk this, when it gets down to it, it's a very basic technique. Fire and the application of food over fire until it's cooked. I mean, it's as basic and as old as you can get. But like anything else, we can tech the heck out of it. And so, we have in the collective we. And so we're going to talk about some tech that from the high end to the basic and everything in between. And so let's start at the top. Why don't we? We're going to talk about tech for grilling, for grills and smokers. And I would say probably at the top of the list for, at least in brand recognition for most people, is Traeger. Traeger grills. They make the original wood pellet grill. And I should probably explain for people who don't know what a wood pellet grill is. Like most grills that most people know are either propane or charcoal. But and then some smokers you could put actual wood logs in. But a pellet grill, what happens is they're these manufactured wood pellets. They're ground up. They grind up wood into these uniform pellets, and there's a feed, a mechanism that feeds a certain amount of pellets over time to create a constant fire of a certain size. So you have so you can regulate the heat pretty well. Like they can get it down to several degrees.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it regulates it really well, and it you can control if you want more smoke or if you want it more for the heat and just for the cooking. So you can use it as like a traditional grill, or you can use it as a smoker or a combination of the two. Right.
And you can get pellets of all the various kinds of wood, apple and pecan, because different kinds of wood get impart different kinds of flavors and that sort of thing. So Traeger is the original. They call themselves the original wood pellet grill, and pricey.
Yeah. Now, fun fact with Traeger, they're from Oregon, and they're still made in Oregon. And originally, their original factory, when they first started making these, was actually a barn rented from the monks of Mount Angel Abbey.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Just right at the hill. That barn is now part of their brewery, the Abbey's brewery. So, but that, of course, that was, so when I was at Mount Angel as seminary is when Traeger was really getting started, and they were just starting to get a name.
Okay.
And so they were only regional, just in that area. But of course, then they grew and expanded, and they obviously outgrew the barn because I think they've got a big factory there now in Oregon, making thousands and thousands of these wonderful grills. But
right. And so the grills can range up to, they're $3,800. They have ones that are less, and the sub 1,000. And for a decent smoker, like a wood pellet smoker, anywhere from you can expect to pay, a decent price, $700-800 to $1,000, I think is the range you can expect. And they have one at $800, which is pretty good for a Traeger. I mean, I would have to say they're a well-known brand. And the tech really comes in with the controls. A lot of these grills, and Traeger has this, is they have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth built in, and you can control the temperature and smoke and all those parameters remotely. You can sit in your living room, in the nice cool air conditioning if you have it, while you're smoking some meat out on the grill. I mean, that's nice.
It's the whole results mindset versus the process mindset. I mean, I have a sub $300 charcoal grill with the side box, that you can use that for the heat and the smoke and stuff. And I've cooked brisket on that, and it does take 10 hours. And even we'll talk about these, even with the wireless thermometer, you do have to babysit it. You do have to add charcoal. You do have to add wood and stuff. So, but on the other hand, I'm a process guy, right? If I'm going to do something like that, it's because I like the process. Yeah. But on the other hand, if I just wanted to eat some tasty brisket and not have to worry about that would be nice too sometimes.
Well, and the big advantage of something like the Traeger is because they have a big hopper, and depending on which unit you get a bigger hopper. You can let it sit for 10 hours in smoke, and you again might want to go check it once in a while, or make sure you refill that hopper. But it's pretty much, you want it set at this temperature, it'll stay at that temperature.
Right.
And that's the big thing, because if you're doing traditional smoking, that's a big concern is, if you're actually have an actual fire that you're pulling the smoke off from, with actual wood, you have to keep adjusting the vents and everything to keep that temperature where you want it. And it is a much more involved process.
Yeah. I would still be checking it every 20 minutes just because I'm, that's that brisket in there. That's my baby. I mean, I'm not going to leave that unattended. Right.
And, the pellets are not flawless either. I mean, I've seen guys talking about how they feel like a pellet bridge will form in the feed hopper, whereas, they'll kind of jam together because they're just shapes, right? And sometimes shapes will do a thing, and they'll form a bridge, and it'll stop feeding. It'll create a blockade or a dam in the feed, and your grill will stop. The heat will go, and
yikes.
It's not quite as set it and forget it as maybe even Traeger wants you to think it is, but so that's the thing. There's still work involved. And so, I probably fall closer to I like to fiddle a bit, but I kind of wish it was a little more set it and forget so that I could do it more often, because I don't often have 8-10 hours where I can keep going back and forth to check the grill.
Yeah, I'm kind of more along lines as I would love to have a grill where, a smoker grill like this where you could just set the meat on there, you hit the timer and you go to bed.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or whatever, or you go work or whatever, where it's like, and then, again, a day later or half a day later, you have like yummy meat waiting for you.
And that's the thing is I mean, I've heard, guys who have these talking about, I set it overnight and just let it go, or people who just use it like an outdoor oven, especially in the summer when you hate to heat up your house.
That's a good point too. Yeah. Grilled pizza is really good.
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to say that I've known people who've done pizzas on their Traeger, even just frozen pizzas, even just your basic store frozen pizza, throw it on the Traeger, and about an hour later, you've got deliciousness.
I mean, I do grilled pizza on my grill all the time. And, and one of the things is like, if you want to like say bake a casserole, you don't want it all smoky. You just could cover it tightly with foil, and the smoke won't get in and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's really neat. I didn't ask you guys, like, what is it that you, what is your grill? What's your equipment? Father Cory, what do you use?
I'm pretty basic. I don't even remember the brand, but I've got a 4-burner, gas grill with a nice side. It's got the nice sidecar burner too, that's awesome. That is one thing I really like, if you're cooking something like ribs or buffalo wings or something like that, to have that side burner where you could cook up the sauce. Yeah. You can mix up the sauce. That's really kind of nice to have. But it's pretty basic. It's nothing. It works really, really well. It does, meat well, but if
it gets hot, it does the job.
Yeah. Its only attachment is to the gas tank. It doesn't have Wi-Fi anything or, temperature probe or nothing.
How about you, Victor? What is it you're cooking on these days?
Yeah, so I cooked on gas grills for years, but I never really had one that lasted more than 3 or 4 years before something rusted out or fell apart. And, when it comes to, you can spend $60 to replace the burners and the grill surface, or you can buy a new grill for like $170. So for years, like every few years, I'd buy a new grill for $170, use it till it rusted out. Now we've got some, on sale at Home Depot, huge cast iron charcoal grill thing. And actually, like, not having used charcoal grills a lot in the past, it adds, I'm going against Hank Hill on King of the Hill. I actually like to taste the fuel here and not necessarily the food. If I'm going to grill something, I kind of want it to have the charcoal taste. And it has the little side thing for smoking as well, but it requires a lot of attention. So for smoking, I got just a basic charbroil electric smoker, and it's a heating element connected to a digital thermostat in basically a metal box, and that's what a smoker is. And so you throw your $1.50 a pound or whatever pork butt on that, and keep it well moisturized, and
nice.
8-10 hours later you have some tasty barbecue.
You get the job done.
Yep.
So I've been a charcoal guy forever. I had my Weber, grill, charcoal grill, and I swore by it, loved it. I still love charcoal cooking over flame. But what I've got today, that one wore out after like 16 years. I think it was a Weber Performer Deluxe, and I had it for a long time. It was a great grill. It rusted out finally, even though I took care of it. Just nothing lasts forever. I ended up getting an Oklahoma Joe hybrid. So it's half a gas grill, half of it's a gas grill, and half of it is a offset smoker, where the smoker box actually has grill grates, so you can grill directly over the fire, and then you can move to the smoker box the smoker barrel, like the interior, for indirect cooking as well. And so instead of doing a 2-level fire inside of a Weber, for instance, with charcoal, where you do half of it full of charcoal, the other half empty, so you can move it back and forth. This, I just move it from the offset smoker box to the interior for indirect, and then I use the propane side for like when I need something quick. It's a weeknight. We just get to eat something. I do burgers and dogs or sausages on it or stuff like that. And it's got the side burner as well. And so like when I'm doing sausages, that's where I'll cook. I'll put a cast iron pan on there and I'll cook the onions on that, and I'll do everything else on the gas. So it's been fantastic. I really enjoy it. I actually don't smoke as much on it as I wish I could, because again, it's so time consuming. I need to find the time to do it because I really enjoy it. The stuff on that. So speaking of Weber, they do charcoal. They're famous for their charcoal grills, but they also have gas grills, and they have their own remote control techie stuff. They call Wi-Fi, which is kind of funny instead of Wi-Fi. And so the Wi-Fi, I'm trying to pull it up here. Let's see. It's a pellet grill system that they have, and it also has an app for your phone and a remote control so that you can manage things from a distance. And theirs is a little less expensive than the Traeger. It's $1,600 for their bigger one. They also have less expensive, grills and smokers and stuff like that as well. But this is the one that has, their top of the line one with their smart grilling technology. And they also sell something separate called the iGrill, which is a digital thermometer system like a lot of people have. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But there are purists who will say, like we've mentioned, it's not real. It's not real barbecue if you're using an app and you're remote controlling it and you're changing the temperature on a thermostat. And maybe there's something to be said for that, but people got to eat and people got to, it's better to have the one that doesn't require all that extra work than to not have barbecue at all, is what I say.
Yeah.
The best grill is the one you use, right? So
exactly. Yeah. It's the one in your backyard.
And some of us aren't that great at getting charcoal fires going. It just, it's a pain sometimes, or getting, wood fires going sometimes a pain.
Yep. Or maintaining that. Oh, it's hard to keep a temp.
Exactly.
So, and another brand I want to mention while we're at it is Kamado Joe, which is, it's an egg shaped, although it's not the big green egg, which is a separate brand, which I don't think actually has a digital thing. Actually, I didn't see it. I might have missed it, but I know Kamado Joe has their digital charcoal grill and smoker, and it uses a slightly different technique for cooking and smoking. There's I don't want to get too much into the weeds on it, but it's a slightly different way of doing things. And some people swear by it. They think it's the best thing. But they also have a way with a digital control for temperature and that sort of thing. So, and that's also in the same range. So if you're going to get a grill with this stuff built in, you're generally going to be paying over $1,000, between $1,000 and $2,000 at least. It seems to be the case.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if, like with an Arduino, a temperature sensor, and a little motor controller, you could just create an activator for like the air flaps and stuff that would,
pretty
open
easily,
and close them.
Someone with
probably
a bit
for
of
under
$30. A few skills could probably put something together for themselves. I bet. I would bet. So those are, if you want to look at connected technological grills, smokers, that's the thing. Of course, there's a low-tech version from someone that I know I admire, with Alton Brown. One of you guys put this in our show rundown. I'm guessing it's Victor.
Yeah, this is my favorite. So when you think of it, and Alton Brown on his show Good Eats, which we watched all the time on Food Network in the early 2000s, I think in a 2001 episode, he said, what is a smoker? It's a box with a source of heat. It heats up wood. The heat cooks the meat, the wood turns to smoke and imbues the meat with all its smoky goodness. So he said, that's what a smoker is. So here's a cardboard box. Here's a hot plate I got at the thrift store. Here's a cast iron skillet. Here's a pie plate to hold the wood chips. You have your box, you have your source of heat, you have something to hold the wood. And he's since refined it quite a bit. And on his website, we'll put the link in the show notes. He has his kind of current cardboard box smoker. So, even the electric smoker I bought on, deep discount on Amazon now is over $300. But if for, under $50, you want to try smoking and you you have a fire extinguisher handy because you're cooking in a
You do it
cardboard
outside.
box. You do it outside, away from anything flammable. That is an option, and he has on his website very detailed step-by-step instructions, and something I've never tried, but I had a problem beginning this season getting my smoker going, and I think it's because the heating coil got a little moist, and it was flipping the GFI. It's electric smoker. It's flipping the GFI on the circuit. Went to YouTube, and they're like, yeah, just put a blowtorch on the heating element for a few minutes, dries it right out. I can't really recommend that because, but I will say thank you to whoever posted that YouTube video. I was smoking within a few minutes. But yeah, so it's something that I was about ready to try the cardboard box smoker at that point. But
Yep.
If you do try that, definitely keep a fire extinguisher handy. We're not recommending it, but let us know if it works.
Yeah.
And it's especially good for like stuff that requires low temp. Like most meats, like beef is like 250, 275, but he smoked salmon on it which is I think he does at 180, and it's a much, a cold smoke is what they call that. So that's where or cheeses, actually smoked cheeses is another one.
Good.
Ooh,
yum.
Yeah. Smoked cheddar is really good. I'm getting hungry. Or he says even a savory sauce. So, yeah, that is fun. I remember watching that and saying I really wanted to give it a try. I just never could get myself around to doing it. But
plus, it's a hard sell if you're standing out in your driveway with a cardboard box that's smoking, and the neighbors are like, "What? No, you don't understand. Like I'm cooking here.
It's supposed to do this."
In Scouts we do a cardboard oven where you take a cardboard box, you wrap it in foil inside and out, and you have your heat source inside, and you heat it up, and then you can put food in it, and you can get up to 350 in there like an oven. So it's pretty good. We've done on camping. We've cooked food in it, and it's pretty fun.
I was gonna say that's when you do the hobo dinners. It's like the burger with the onion and wrap it all up, and yep.
Although I think one of the Scoutmasters did like bacon wrapped scallops in his. This is he's the Scoutmaster everyone likes to go on the camping trips with. So those are the grills and smokers. There's also smaller tech that is accessible to everyone that we can, and probably the number one thing to get for good grilling, good smoking is a thermometer, an instant read thermometer. And I have like 4 different thermometers. I have a bit of a problem. And so my favorites are from ThermoWorks. These are the guys that they started as a scientific instrument company and were discovered by cooks. And then so they started making precision thermometers for the culinary industry. And so like the one you got to know is the ThermaPen one. You see that on all the cooking shows. It's fantastic. I use it. I have several, but I have one in my kitchen. I use it all the time when I'm cooking. They have a specific one for a barbecue alarm thermometer called Signals, which has like 4 probes, including an ambient temperature probe. And then they have another one called Smoke X, which is a long range remote barbecue one, so that you can take it. It communicates over a radio frequency. It's not Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It's radio frequency, but it's you can go up to 1.24 miles away and still keep track of your. Don't go to a mile away from your grill when you're cooking.
This sounds like, oh yes, I'm out at the cabin at the lake and the grill's at the guest house that's a mile away. And,
Oh man,
that's right. But I have one that's I'll have to find the link to it, but it's a simpler one. It doesn't do the remote, but what it does, it has 2 probes. It has a probe that goes into the food and another one that's an ambient temperature probe that tells you the temperature inside the grill. Like a lot of times a grill will have a thermometer in the lid, but that's just telling you what the temperature is at the top of the lid, not where the food is. So you want to know what the temperature of the grill is, where the food is on, by the grill surface. And so that's what that's for. And then you can get the temperature inside the food, which is what you want so that you don't poison yourself. I
would say these are essential. I would say that if you get nothing else, no matter how you cook, oven, stovetop, grill, you need a decent probe thermometer, and the wireless kinds, the kind that have multiple probes. I think I have one that has 4 with the transceiver, and then you have the remote unit that you can look at while you're playing Switch and be like, oh, it's at 150. Well, it's just going to stay there for a while, type thing. It's probably the most essential piece of kitchen equipment you'll own. And I just have to say, you don't have to spend a lot for this. Like, I think the one I use was the first one I got was like under $20. I think I lost that. So they have these stores now where all the returned merchandise to Amazon goes, and they just put them in bins, and you just go there and anything you want to buy is like $5, and you just rummage through these bins. And I found like a really good, somewhat good, digital, wireless probe thermometer, one of those. So for $5, that's the one, I'm using now. And it doesn't have to be super accurate, but it's probably the most essential piece of grilling hardware you'll own.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a wireless one. I've got a wired one. But it's got a long wire on the probe, and it's not one that you really want to leave in the grill as it's cooking.
Right.
But if you need but it's good for, it does, instant read pretty, it reads pretty quick, so it's something where you can open up, stick it in, in about 10 seconds, you've got the temperature and you're good.
Right. Like the Thermopen is literally instant. You stick it in, you get the temperature. But it's so you have like probe where you're in and out, and then you have ones that stay in during the cook. They're rated for staying in it, and so I've got ones I use in my oven in my kitchen, or I use it when I'm deep frying to keep track of the temperature of the oil. I mean, all the time I use these different ones, and they're great. Yeah, and you don't need to get ThermoWorks. I mean, ThermoWorks can be a little pricier than others. Like the Thermopen's like $85, but there are good brands out there that are half that, and you can find those.
And you can find decent ones even just at your basic, box store.
Yeah. Just basic.
They work great. They're not the really fancy, super expensive ones. They're just simple temperature probes that they do a good job.
Now, Weber, speaking of Weber, I mentioned their iGrill, and it's a wireless app connected thermometer that lets you monitor up to 4 cuts of meat, 4 different pieces of meat. And, it's got an app that goes with it, and it gives you alerts, and we'll even, tell you, like, you put in what kind of food you're making and what you're trying to do, and it will walk you through things. And there's like an iOS app and an Android app that goes with it. So that's a good one. Pricey though. It's still pricey. But the one that you're going to see like on YouTube everywhere, and I got this for Christmas a couple years ago, is the Meter, MEATER. And it is looks like just a stick, like a little silver stick with a little black end. And there's a block that it goes in, and the wooden block actually is a transceiver. So it receives the local signal. It has to stay near the little stick that goes inside the food in the grill or the smoker. And then that transmits to your phone at a distance via Bluetooth. Although I think they've got ones that are now Wi-Fi. They get ones that are that go even further than. I've just got the original Meter, which is if I'm in my office and I put the block on a chair outside the back door, then it can reach my grill. It stays in range. But it's got a nice app, and again, you tell it what you're making. I'm making pork. I'm making beef, and then it will keep track of the temperature. It also does track the temperature in the grill, the ambient temperature, but also the temperature in the meat, and will track it over time and give you a nice graph and all this great stuff, like super nerdy barbecue smoker guys want to see graphs of their latest cook and compare it with the other guys. Look at this, it reached the plateau, and then I pushed it beyond. It stalled. Telling stories.
And I have to say the second most valuable tech tool that you can use while grilling is YouTube, because that's going to tell you when you want to wrap up your meat in foil if you want to do it, or I wasn't familiar with the stall at first. So like meat reaches a certain point where the water, starts or has boiled off or starts to boil off, and it keeps a temperature for like an hour near 150 degrees or whatever. And so I was like, I'm doing something wrong. The meat just won't go up. I'm going to turn up the heat on this thing as high as it will go. And then poof, no more meat. Yeah. So YouTube, watch it. It did for the cut of meat you're watching, for the type, if it is an electric smoker, is a charcoal grill. They have videos galore on everything you would want, and they knowledge is your best grilling tool.
Yeah, I should mention some of my favorite YouTube channels for this. How to barbecue right, how to BBQ right. That's this guy is all Louisiana, like all Louisiana. He's really great. Malcolm Reed, I think. No, that's the Star Trek.
That's the character from Enterprise.
Malcolm
You got
something or
yourself a roux going there. You put your celery and your carrots and your onion.
Oh yeah.
Onion. Cooking with Rye, RY, another great one. All Things BBQ is a great one, and Mad Scientist BBQ, all great channels where you're gonna learn a lot. Mad Scientist BBQ, he's like high end. He does the professional level stuff, although he gets into the science of it, so it's really good. So any of those are great channels to check out for. And when I was just getting started, trying to figure out how to manage the temp and all this sort of stuff, I used all YouTube for a lot of that. So recommend it.
Speaking of that, I do want to mention one cooking YouTube channel. It's not specifically grilling or smoking, but Cowboy Kent Rollins.
Cowboy Kent, yes.
He does a lot of stuff that you could very easily do on your grills.
I just made a recipe from Cowboy Kent the other day for dinner for my family. I talked about it in Raising the Bets. It was his Taco Bell Mexican pizza remake, where so Taco Bell's get this Mexican pizza, which is it's Taco Bell. And it was really good. The kids are like, you can make this anytime. It was really good.
Yeah, so he's a good one. Like if you want to do like the Dutch oven cooking and stuff like that, which again, you can do very easily on a grill.
Yes.
It will work very well on a grill.
Yes. Yeah. All his cooking is outdoors. He's a chuck wagon cook from on a ranch in Oklahoma. I mean, he's the real deal. So yeah, definitely check him out.
Yeah, my dad used to make Mexican pizza, but he just took a Kroger frozen pizza and threw Mexican cheese on it.
Olay.
Olay, yeah. So I'm doing the best I can. God rest his soul. Love him.
That's awesome. So other things you can get to help you with your grilling and your I don't have one of these, but I kind of want one, and it's a electric charcoal starter. And it's basically kind of like a blowtorch, like electric blowtorch. So you point it at the charcoal in your grill, and it will get it going within 60 seconds. I've seen other ones that use propane, like they're like brush burners. They use them for like burning brush and stuff like that. But this is kind of for the purpose, and seems a little safer, actually.
It looks like a curling iron that you would never want to give somebody as a present. Unless you like them bald.
Yeah. And they have different ones. I'm not sure why. If it lights the fire, it lights the fire. Get the cheap one. So,
I like my paraffin wax and wood, shavings mixture,
I use those
under a Weber chimney, with it. And that gives you a chance to get a couple drinks, in the 20 minutes it takes to heat up. Yeah.
That is the one I use.
This looks like something that'd be great for my fireplace as well.
Oh, yeah. That would definitely be the sort of thing for that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I use the Weber charcoal chimney with the little fire starters underneath. Those are perfect. Fantastic.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of the, Burnomatic propane torches as well. I mean, they're good for your fireplace. They're good for your charcoal. I mean, 101 uses. No handyman should be without one.
So now something that doesn't go on the grill or even really near the grill, but is useful in grilling is a sous vide. What it does is it's immersion cooking. And what you put food in a bag in water and heat the water up to a desired temperature. And the way physics works is the food can never get hotter than the heat of the water that it's in. And so, for example, if you want to have the tenderest steak you've ever had, put it in a bag, and you can either do vacuum seal or you can just like do a zip top bag that you get as much air out of as you can. And you put it in there and you bring it up to 120 degrees.
Yeah.
And just leave it there for 45 minutes, then take it out of the bag and just sear it for 30 seconds each side to just get some color on it. Because it's cooked all the way, but it's been kind of boiled, so it doesn't look all that attractive.
Yeah, you don't get any char. And the reason this works is because if you heat food instantly to 165, 175 degrees, that'll kill all the harmful bacteria in it. But if you heat food to 120 and keep it there for a few hours, that'll also kill, most, depending on the bacteria in the food, that'll also kill the bacteria. So you're not damaging the meat and the connective tissue in the meat as much as you would if you just, ratcheted up the temperature. Yeah. You're keeping it at a lower temperature for longer and a very controlled temperature. But again, you don't get the char. So that's where my friend the blowtorch comes in as well, because you heat up your cast iron skillet to like red hot, you throw it down, then you get your blowtorch out and run it over it, and that gives you a nice char as well.
Well, then I've seen people where they'll use a cast iron skillet and they'll get some butter melted in it and then put the steak in so they can sear the steak in the butter.
Right, the brown butter.
But you're talking though about like 120 degrees. Well, that's just about considered kind of rare, medium rare in that area. So of course, a steak, a beef steak is a good one for that. Even some like the salmon or that, maybe salmon, but the fish that you can eat with somewhat rare as well would be good for this.
I actually did a roast in it once.
Roast. That's
to bring
a great
roast
thing,
up to a temp, and you can go higher than 120. I mean, you can go as high as up to nearly boiling if you want. Just depends on what you're trying to do. Now the longer it's in there, the more tender it gets, but you don't want to overdo it because then it just turned to mush and it's not very tasty at all. And one of the big benefits is like when you're cooking over a grill, it's cooking that there's this fine line between rare when you get that nice pink in the middle and well done, and it takes a bit of practice. And if the meat is thin, it's really hard. Whereas with this, it's just the outside, and that middle stays nice and rare, and you get that really sharp dividing line between the gray cooked edge and the rare in interior, and so can be really good. So. And there's all kinds of things you can do with sous vide. It doesn't have to just be meat. It can be all kinds of other stuff as well.
Veggies and lots
eggs.
Oh yeah, you feel like soft boiled.
The best soft boiled eggs you get is you just put them in the water, let them swim around while the sous vide, does its thing.
Yep.
Nice.
I think we were just saying that before we started. Victor was like, I got to get that out again. I don't use it enough.
I went through a big sous vide. Like it was really popular a while ago, and then it's in my cabinet. But now, I really want to just kind of dig it out and let it do its thing there.
Yeah, I think I want to make some of those soft boiled eggs because those are really good. Yeah. All right, here's one that I'm never gonna get, but it's just I couldn't resist. It's the grill bot. Because man. one of the hassles of having a grill is that it gets dirty, all that char, all that burnt on stuff, and you got to scrape it.
That's called flavor. That's called flavor.
Flavor, causing flare-ups and all kinds of stuff. And what I do is the next time I'm gonna grill is I heat the thing up as hot as it'll go. It starts to burn off, and then I just use my grill brush to scrape the rest of it off, and it's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you've got if you like your gadgets, maybe the grill bot, and basically it's this little semi-triangular round thing with brushes that point in all different directions, metal brushes, and you put it on it, and it just goes nuts on it. It goes all over the place with it, and it's supposed to scrape the grill. I can't imagine that it does that great of a job.
No,
it can't put that much force on it.
Yeah. Give this to somebody with hardwood floors and tell them it's a Roomba. Don't do that. It's a Roomba for your grill, and
that's essentially what it is. I mean,
it looks like they actually took like the vacuum cleaner brushes, the rotary brushes on the vacuum cleaner, and just stuck it on a
in three different directions, and it just kind of like flops all flutters all over the darn thing until it's done. I don't know how much smarts are in it, but it's kind of it's amusing to me. And I'm gonna guess that the grill has to be cold before you do it, because you don't want to put this on there when it's still rocking hot. It'd probably melt.
It's always encouraging when the very number one accessory on their accessories page is a replacement DC motor for the brushes, but at least it looks just like a pretty standard DC electric motor and stuff. Well, so a novelty gift, I'd say.
Yes.
On the top of it's got a warning: keep away from fire, turn grill off, and close lid.
Close the lid, because you don't want it to come off at you and start chasing you across the deck.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh man. So I would, so after all that hardware, I was thinking, what do we got for software? What do we have that we can, use for software for grilling? There's not a lot out there apart from apps that go with the hardware, the things that control the hardware. Mm-hmm. The one thing I like is Weber has their Weber Grills app on iPhone. I couldn't find it on Android. I don't know if they just don't have it. They have apps on Android, but they're the ones that control their devices. But this has recipes and, ideas and that sort of stuff. If you're looking for some inspiration for something to grill and, you might want to buy a Weber grill while you're at it or something, that's what it's there for. So it's free, so it's worth downloading and checking it out anyway. So, anything else you want to bring up about grilling tech?
No, do it. Go out and grill something.
Yeah. When the weather is warm and the sun is out, don't heat up your kitchen. Get out there, cook as much as you can on your grill, and find new things to cook. We were talking about pizzas. Our family does pizzas. I get the non pizzas, the non bread at the the Indian flatbread at the grocery store, and we put sauce and cheese on it, and we make pizzas on it or whatever. There's more. You can grill more things than you think, I think, is the idea. And if anyone else, if any of the listeners have ideas for grilling tech that they enjoy, be sure to let us know. You can email us at technology@sqpn.com. So before we head on to our headlines this week, I want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including John S., Mary B., Dawn and Michelle E., Mary M., and Marty T. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So our first headline this week is Netflix's crackdown on password sharing has begun in the U.S. This was a program that they mentioned some time ago. They rolled it out in some countries overseas, but of course the big market is the U.S. and they finally got it here, as well as all regions around the world. And so what this is they've found, and everyone knows, that mom and dad own the Netflix account and the kids use the password forever and ever, or roommates, or boyfriend and girlfriend, or what have you. But the epidemic of people, one person paying for the account and everybody sharing the password. It's a thing. I saw a funny story about this guy broke up with a girl, or she broke up with him, and then he knew she was using his Netflix account, and then until like the final episode of the big series she was watching was just about to drop, and then he changed the password on her. I mean, ouch. That's just cold. So anyway, they've rolled out their new password sharing crackdown, but they've kind of made some ways for people to ease them into it. So you'll have to live in the same household. You can travel, go different places, but you all have to live in the same household. And they're kind of keeping track of where you are, how often you're using it outside the household. But they allow you to manage account access as a page now where you can sign out people who are signed into your account. You can transfer a profile. You can have multiple profiles on a Netflix account. You can now transfer a profile to a new membership. And then you can actually pay to have someone share your Netflix account. It's like $8 a month, so it's almost the same. What do you think? I mean, is Netflix cutting off their nose to spite their face? Do you think they're going to have a big benefit from this? Will people rush out to get their new accounts based on this?
I think it's great, because if now more people are paying for their accounts, the price should come down for a monthly subscription, right? Like more people paying, right? You cut out. That's what the argument is, right? Because the prices are high because people keep stealing stuff. So people stop, scare quotes, stealing Netflix. The prices should come down for everyone. So I think this is great news. Lower prices for Netflix for everyone. Maybe not so much.
I think people are going to figure out ways around this or go to other services that don't have this.
And frankly, I don't know that it's going to have a big difference either way for Netflix. I think the big question is what's the content? If Netflix has compelling content, people will want to watch it. if they don't have compelling content, then people aren't going to bother. And I think that's really what it comes down to. And I mean,
and I could see that they could actually lose money on this, because people who might have been paying for Netflix, knowing that their kids were using it once in a while, or knowing that someone else was using it once in a while, all of a sudden they kind of look and go, well, we're not watching it because there's no shows on there that we really care about, so cancel.
Right. And the kids don't bother picking it up, and they'll just go watch something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll get better programming. Yeah.
Or they'll go sail the seven seas. People have done that for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It comes down to is the quality of the product, the programming that you offer, and you make it compelling enough. And I think, I think these things go hand in hand. It's not an either or. Like, I think it's their product. They can, and their terms of service. And if they want to say, you have to live in the same household to use the same account, that's their choice. So that's fine. But if they expect people to pay for it, they better have a good product that people want to pay for. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And practically speaking, I mean, evaluate your paid subscriptions every month. If you're not using something like we signed up for Peacock because we specifically wanted to see the movies, based on the TV show Psych, as well as the new TV show Mrs. Davis. Yep. We've watched those. So now we can exit the subscription. Yeah.
Come and go.
A lot of people we hear with, Secrets of Star Trek, we hear where, I'm going to, once all Strange New Worlds, the new season has come out, then I'm going to pay for the 1 month and binge it.
Yep. Right. That's one of the reasons why more and more services are going to the once a week model, 1 episode a week model, to keep you hanging on. But that's a response people have. And this is also why they're doing this, like scheduling. We have Star Trek every week of the year, or Star Wars every week, a new Star Wars every week of the year. Keep you hanging on, keep you watching.
Tried.
They're trying anyway. And then but I mean, there are ways to manage this that benefit you. You could subscribe to this service for a month, and then that service for a month, and watch all the and then the way we watch TV has changed. It's no longer you start watching a series, all your new series in September, and you're done by May, and then it's reruns all summer. Those days are long gone. And they're not coming back. And so, I think people are adapting to new ways of watching TV, and this is just another part of it.
And it doesn't help much either for groups like Netflix that there are the free services that have good TV, it's older TV, perhaps like, Dom and I, we're both watching Babylon 5 right now.
Yep.
And you can watch it for free on Tubi, as I said.
Or on Roku, or and the Roku channel, I think, too. Yeah.
So, it's available free. And you got to watch some commercials, but I can put up with a couple of commercial breaks and not have to pay a penny.
Or if you use the Play On service, you have to pay to have it record it for you, but it cuts out the commercials. Yeah.
Oh,
they're not bad commercials. So
well, and if you grew up watching network TV, it's nowhere near as many commercials as they used to be.
That's when you go to the bathroom. So
so our next headline is, now this is a bit of the modern world we live in story. There's a backlash. So we've all heard of, Airbnb, where people rent out their homes or their vacation homes. And there was this huge thing of oh my gosh, everybody is renting out their homes, and it's turning our neighborhoods into, rental, tourist villages. And then the same thing with Uber. Uber's killing the taxi cab industry, and everyone's car is now a taxi. Well, now there's a new service, that's so new, I guess, but there's a service called Swimply, where people can rent out their pools, their swimming pools, which this sounds like a terrible idea.
It is.
I'm just looking at the liabilities of what could happen, and that no.
Swimly does, say that they insure all of the owners for up to $1 million for the event that a guest is injured, and $10,000 for property damages.
$1 million is like, and doesn't cover anything when you get into a negligent death or,
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the first person to try to pull on that policy, because darn well the lawyers are going to come out real quick.
No, you didn't follow this item in our terms of service, therefore you are not covered by
terms of service says no one under the age of 18 must be able to swim, and no adults are permitted to swim. And
right. So and it causes some hard feelings with neighbors. I mean, I'm reading this story from from the Washington Post, talking about people who are the neighbors of people who are renting out their pool, and it's constant traffic and people parking in the neighborhood all the time and all the noise and like and they rent it out by the hour, so you have like people standing on the front lawn in swimsuits holding floaties waiting for the next the prior people to come out so they can go in, and just oh my gosh, it sounds horrible.
This is why we have laws. I mean, I'm the biggest, free market person there is, but this is why we have laws that regulate, public swimming pools. And if you're going to treat your house like a public service or a public amenity, you should be regulated like it. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Well, and that's even then, I think there, some of the politicians, they're having this like a share economy bill where they want to regulate these things and tax them, because that's really, we can regulate, we can tax it. But the other people saying like, no, ban it, like don't regulate it, ban it, because we don't want to turn our neighborhoods into these commercial districts where everything is for rent and for sale. And it's hard to disagree, because I mean, I can imagine how awful that would be to live next to. I mean, I've heard the horror stories about Airbnb, living next to some Airbnb places, and it feels like Airbnb has sort of cracked down and gotten a handle on that, so it's better than it was, although I'm sure there's still issues. But this just sounds like even like worse, frankly.
Yeah, I know a lot of overweight dads. Maybe I should open a service where like you pay us and we'll sit on your front lawn, like next to the pool, topless, and then just scare everybody away. Call it paley because we're so pale.
What is that? I get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story like one guy who rents it out. He's like, hey, I rent my pool for $50 to $150 an hour, and he tells this heartwarming story of that one of his favorite repeat customers is this young man with a disability who lives nearby and uses the pool for recreation. I'm like, you could just let him use it.
Yeah.
It's called charity, and love your neighbor.
Yeah, for some people, everything is just a commodity, including their neighbors.
And that's the thing, is like, I don't like this world where we're just turning everything into a commodity and it's no longer share. Like my brother has a pool and he's always telling all of his family and friends, come over and use it. It sits here empty, unused a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just come and use it. And it's, share and all that. But it's like it's the commoditization of life in America that it just kind of starting to get to me a little bit. I mean, I like the idea that Uber destroyed the taxi industry because the taxi industry was pretty bad, pretty stultified. But gosh, like there's a limit to how far I think we should go with that.
Now, I will throw out kind of a counter argument, if you will, and maybe as this one in particular says, what is this saying about our public resources, especially in more populated areas?
Yeah,
where people feel like they can't go to a public pool, for example, because maybe there isn't a public pool close by, or it's in a neighborhood that's not safe, or they feel it's not safe, or something like that.
Yeah.
And, and I mean, and again, that's not to say that this is a great thing, but, maybe if people felt like they could go have their parties at public pools or, gyms that happen to have a pool or something like that, community centers, stuff like that,
right,
then this wouldn't be a service.
Plus, there used to be, back in the day, a lot more access to waterways and, swimming holes. And a lot of that stuff has been closed off and regulated away from people.
Well, and just I think about that even, of course, around here, we've got a big river over here that people swim in and, float down and all this kind of stuff. And that it's just that what people do in the summer.
Right. And a lot of places, especially in the more urban areas, a lot of that stuff is no longer as accessible as it once was. And like here in Massachusetts, a lot of the beaches are resident only, or you have to be, part of an exclusive community or all that sort of stuff. And most people don't have access.
And there might be one little corridor you can walk through to get your 10 feet of beach that the city required them to set aside.
Yeah. Yep. And then you have to, watch out for the sharks in the water, because it's what we got in New England now is sharks.
Oh boy.
So speaking of water, and our next headline is I just thought it was kind of amusing because this is still happening. How many decades that we've had GPSs? But this story from the San Francisco Gate: Hawaii tourist follows GPS into harbor water again. This apparently is the thing that where the GPS maps in Honoko'ahu small boat harbor on the Big Island, whatever the GPS maps say, they have people driving into the water instead of driving around the road. The map is wrong, and people are just like that episode of The Office where the GPS says drive into the lake, and they drive into the big body of water in front of them. And I just thought, and it happens enough. This is actually at least twice that it's happened. So I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. And of course, it's not just lakes. You hear stories all the time of take a left turn here, and there's a railroad track right there with the road, like immediately after the railroad track. So they turn onto the railroad track.
Oh, jeez. Right.
Because of course you would.
Yeah, because that's where you're supposed to go.
How did we ever get to where we were going when we were like kids and learning to drive and we had paper maps? I remember that. And even before MapQuest, I mean, we didn't have GPS, and like, why weren't we driving down railroad tracks, or into harbors and stuff?
This just proved that men were right to not ask directions.
That's right.
Yeah, when somebody
that's
tells
true.
you directions, you're going to get into a lake or on railroad tracks.
You remember those map books, like the spiral bound books? And so you get to the edge of the map and you got to quickly find the next town. It's in alphabetical order.
Or the AAA triptychs where you'd go to the AAA office and they'd say, here's how you're going to get to South Dakota. And here's every bit of construction along the way as of our last, intelligence, Yeah,
man,
pretty amazing. Yeah, I wouldn't go back to that. I love my Google Maps, but
I still have a spiral bound Rand McNally Atlas in my car. I leave it in my truck under the console. That and the county level or the street level map of Montana, where you see every little back road and every little. I keep both those under my console, because if I'm out driving somewhere and the phone's not working and I don't know where I'm at, I've got resources that I can at least get myself to something resembling safety if I needed to. Definitely.
Yeah, you can't drive too far in Massachusetts without finding out where you are. But yeah, I can imagine in Montana, there are plenty of places where you don't get a signal, and you need that sort of thing.
And you come across a cattle gate, and all you see are cattle in front of you. Is like, did I make the right turn? Or hopefully not a farmer kind of asking, "What are you doing here?"
Right? Why on my land?
This isn't County Road 38.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So those are our headlines this week, and let's move on to our picks of the week. Victor, what is your pick this week?
Yeah, so this might be a little niche, but I do enjoy my I have some little tiny synthesizers that have basically headphone out jacks for audio, and so I wanted a way to kind of mix those together so I could listen to them all on my headphone. But I know that if we're in a wireless world now, but still a lot of devices like, video game consoles, other audio players and stuff still use those headphone jacks. If you want an easy way to combine them into one output, maybe for recording or for listening to on your headphone, I found a really cool little mixer. It's by Duke, which I guess is a brand. It's the MC5 Pro basically audio mixer, and what's really cool about it is it works as a passive audio mixer where you don't need power if you're using an external headphone amplifier, but if you want to listen on your headphones, it does have a power jack, so you can plug it in. So for mixing down four basic headphone outputs to one, I found this to be really handy. So that's my pick this week.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, nice. Does the job. One job.
Yep.
And Father Cory, what's your pick this week?
So my pick is an app that just came out that I haven't even had time to play with yet, because it just came out the last couple of days, and I was scrambling to get a pick of the week. And this one. So Ascension Press, of course, known for Jeff Cavins' work, Father Mike Schmitz, a bunch of other great Catholic theologians and spiritual writings and so on. Well, they just recently came out with the Ascension Press app, the Ascension app, and it's basically a Bible and catechism app. So it has the RSV, the second edition of the RSV Catholic edition. Of course, it has the catechism. It's got Jeff Cavins' Great Adventure, Catholic Bible. information. It's got Father Mike Schmitz and his podcasts, both Bible in a year and Catechism in a year. He actually does an audiobook version of the Bible. You can have him. You could listen to the Bible with him reading the Bible instead of reading it yourself. If you want to do it for listening as you're going down the road or whatever you might want to do. It's got commentary. It's got Bible questions, more like apologetics type questions and things like that. So it's really a very interesting sounding app where it's just a good resource to have on your phone. Again, Bible ready at hand instead of using, the Google searches that we all do. Now, what's this verse? Google search it up and try to find it. No. But then again, like it's got the spiritual resources and the commentary resources and things like that will really help understand the scriptures, understand the teachings of the church much easier. So yeah, this is a brand new app, and I'm looking forward to using it and really playing with it. And of course, those who are doing the Mike Schmitz podcast, this is a good way to just have it there in one place where it's always going to be. So
and free, although
and free.
They do say that there may be in-app purchases of stuff someday in the future, but they don't have any immediate plans. But it's free, so it's good.
Well, I wonder if they're planning on getting it so that all the material that Ascension has put out over the years will eventually end up in this.
Yeah, that would make sense. I just look forward to falling asleep listening to Father Schmitz's dulcet tones read me scripture as I for the catechism. I'll just curl up with a nice, hot tea and a blanket.
Sure,
sounds very cozy.
It's very cozy. Awesome. That is great. Thank you to our friends at Ascension for providing that to everyone.
And I do have to do the obligatory. Yes, it is for both iPhone, iOS, and Android. So,
well, of course,
all the good apps, all the real good apps have both.
Yes, that's right. So I'm going to pick something that I have 6 of in my house, and that is the Soundcore Anchor Life Q20 Hybrid Active Noise Canceling Headphones. These are wireless over-ear Bluetooth headphones that have noise canceling built in. And I tell you, when you have kids who have various anxiety or ADHD or other issues where extraneous noise can set them off in various ways, or children with misophonia, which is like if they want to strangle their brother who's chewing too loudly next to them, that sort of thing. These are great. They're $60, which is a good deal for decent noise canceling headphones. And
yeah,
and my kids are not easy on their headphones, and they last pretty good. I will recommend that when you get them, you also get the protection plan for $6 or $8 that goes with it. You get a 2 or 3 year protection plan. It just makes sense. And I've had to use it, and they'll send, they give you a refund basically of your purchase of the thing and to cover the cost of a replacement. So it's really good. And so, yeah, I recommend these. My kids love them. They constantly have them, and they have less expensive ones and like you can get that don't have the noise canceling. But these are also, I guess there's a newer version too that's $10 more. The one I'm going to link to is
35. Yeah.
Yeah. The one I'm going to link to is for $60. There's that's the Q20. There's a Q20i that's for $70. And then they also have renewed ones, which are even less expensive. Refurbs. So check them out.
Yeah, I have a high school age son who's used these for the past year, and they've really been helpful. He has an agreement with his school where if he's taking a test or something, he can have these on, and it just cuts out the noise of the class so he can focus. Right. And they're not the most durable things. We're looking to buy him a new pair for his birthday this year, but so that protection plan might come in handy. But if you're gentle with them, they're excellent headphones.
Yeah, at the price. Yeah,
and it looks like you can get a hard case for them, so they would be good for traveling. Because they're cheaper. They're on the lower end. You're not talking the Bose, $500 headphones that you're afraid of breaking. These are like, okay, well, $60. That's the pits that it broke, but it's $60.
Right, or AirPods. The pros, which have noise canceling, but they'll lose it. They'll lose one of them.
Yep.
They will. It's just a fact. So one thing you also, just as a tip, I got the tile stickers, and I put a tile on my son's because they're always in his bed, but I have to use the tile app to make the noise to prove it that it's in his bed. He's like, Dad,
Yeah.
can you do the tile to find? It's in your bed. No, I looked. I'm telling you, it's in your bed. I haven't even looked, and I know it's in your bed. So
You see that big pile of blankets? That's where it's at.
I'm
Exactly.
flashing back to all the years we had to remote alarm the Amazon Fire tablets to find them under the bed or behind the couch, and like several times a day. Yeah,
exactly.
I won't blame kids for that. I've had to do the where's my phone?
Oh, I do that.
Person,
Yeah.
where's my phone?
I do that. I do that. My wife and I are looking for our phones.
Good.
All right, so that does it for our picks of the week and our discussion of our various topics. We'd love to hear your feedback on anything we've talked about today. You can do that by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology or the StarQuest Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or send an email to technology@sqpn.com. Or visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord, where we have great conversations about each week's topics after the show comes out. You can join us there. You'll find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC218, Tech218. Remember to like each episode of Secrets of Tech on Facebook, retweet them on Twitter at SQPN, and make sure to leave us comments. We love to hear from you. Until next time, Father Cory Sticha, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
Thank you, Dom.
And Victor Lambs, thank you as well.
thanks, Dom.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.